It didn't crash slowly. There was no warning, no countdown. At exactly 8:17 p.m., the entire internet disappeared. Not down, not lagging, gone. Every website, every server, every connection, gone in 1 second. And at first, nobody panicked. It was just another Tuesday night in America. People were scrolling through their phones, half watching Netflix, replying to messages they didn't really care about. A college student in Chicago was refreshing his email, waiting for a response that might change his life. A mother in Texas was video calling her daughter, smiling through a screen that made distance feel smaller. A delivery driver in Los Angeles was following GPS directions, rushing to complete one last order before midnight. Everything felt normal, predictable, connected, until it wasn't. 8:17 p.m. The student hit refresh. Nothing loaded. He frowned and hit it again. Still nothing. Across the country, the mother's video call froze mid-sentence. Her daughter's face locked in a silent smile. "Hello," she said. No response. In Los Angeles, the driver glanced at his phone. The map vanished. No route, no signal. Just a blank screen. At the same moment, millions of people looked down at their devices and saw nothing. At first, it felt small, like a glitch, Wi-Fi issue, server outage, maybe your provider. People restarted their routers, turned airplane mode on, then off, closed apps, reopened them, checked other apps, everything was dead. Social media, gone. Email, gone. Streaming, gone. Even the simplest searches returned. Nothing. Still, nobody understood. Because the idea was too big. It's probably just a temporary outage. That's what people told themselves. That's what news anchors said on television broadcasts that were still running locally. Experts speculated a major server failure, a cyber attack, regional disruption. But within minutes, one terrifying truth began to emerge. This wasn't regional. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't a glitch. Banks stopped responding. ATMs froze mid-transaction. Payment systems failed instantly. At grocery stores, customers stood awkwardly at checkout counters. Cards declined. Phones couldn't verify payments. Even cash registers locked up. Because they weren't just machines anymore. They were connected. And now, that connection was gone. The fear didn't explode. It spread quietly, like a virus no one could see. People started asking questions. Why isn't anything working? Is it just here? Can you check on your end? But there was no other end anymore. No messages were going through, no confirmations, no answers. For the first time in decades, people were completely cut off. Not just from information, from each other. Airports began to stall, flights delayed, not because of weather but because systems couldn't communicate. Air traffic control slowed to manual coordination. Hospitals switched to backup procedures. But even backups relied on networks. Patient records became inaccessible. Histories, gone. Prescriptions, uncertain. Doctors were forced to make decisions without data. And this is where the first mistake happened. People assumed it would come back, so they waited. They didn't prepare, they didn't act. They just refreshed, over and over again, hoping for a signal that would never return. By 9:03 p.m., less than an hour later, the world began to feel different, quieter, heavier. Without notifications, without constant updates, without the invisible web connecting everything. Reality felt slower, but also more dangerous, because now nobody knew what was happening, anywhere. A man tried to message his brother in another state. Message failed. A teenager tried to post a story. Upload. A business owner tried to access cloud data. Access denied. One by one, people realized something they had never experienced before. They were alone, not physically, but digitally. And in this world that was worse. By 10:12 p.m., the silence wasn't normal anymore. It was wrong. Not peaceful, not calm, wrong. Because people had stopped trying to fix the problem and started realizing there might not be a fix. Television networks were still broadcasting, but something felt off. Anchors repeated the same lines again and again. We are currently experiencing a global network disruption. No updates, no new data, because even they had no access to real-time information anymore. For the first time in modern history, the news. And this is where the second mistake happened. People turned to old habits instead of new reality. They crowded stores, gas stations, supermarkets, pharmacies, not because they understood the situation, but because fear told them to move. And when millions of people move at once, systems break. At first, people tried to pay. Cards declined. Phones didn't work. Contactless payments dead. Some stores accepted cash. But not for long, because without internet they couldn't track inventory, couldn't process sales, couldn't verify anything. So they shut down. Locked doors. Lights off. It started small. A man arguing at a gas station. "I need fuel. Just take the cash." The worker shook his head. "I can't. The system's down." Voices got louder. People gathered. Tension rose. Then, someone pushed. And just like that, the first fight broke out. Not because of the internet, but because of what its absence created. Uncertainty. By midnight, roads became unpredictable. Traffic lights still worked, but coordination didn't. Ride apps were gone. Navigation systems failed. People drove blind, missed exits, took wrong turns. Accidents increased. Not massively, but enough to create confusion. Because now, help wasn't one call away. In the sky, things were worse. Pilots switched to manual protocols. Radio communication still existed, but it was overloaded, limited, old school. Flights were rerouted, delayed, some grounded entirely, because modern aviation didn't just rely on skill, it relied on data. And that data was gone. By 1:30 a.m., people made the third mistake. They trusted that authorities were in control, that somewhere, someone had a plan. But here's the truth. The systems that authorities depended on were the same systems that just died. Communication networks, data centers, coordination platforms, all gone. So while people waited for instructions, there were none. Inside hospitals, pressure built silently. Machines still worked, but systems didn't. Doctors couldn't access full patient histories. Nurses couldn't update records digitally. Emergency lines were overwhelmed. Because people kept calling asking the same question, "What's happening?" But hospitals didn't have that answer. They were too busy trying to function without the one thing they depended on most: information. By 2:10 a.m., a terrifying realization spread. The internet wasn't just for communication, it was infrastructure. Invisible but essential. Power grids used it. Supply chains relied on it. Security systems depended on it. And now, those systems were starting to behave strangely. In some areas, lights flickered. Not complete blackouts, but instability. Because power systems relied on synchronized data, real-time balancing. Without that, small errors began to grow. Not enough to shut everything down yet, but enough to warn anyone paying attention. Something bigger was coming. And still, people stayed where they were. They didn't prepare, didn't gather essentials properly, didn't think long-term. Because deep down, they believed this was temporary. That by morning, everything would reset, everything would come back, and life would continue like nothing happened. But morning came, and nothing changed. No notifications, no signals, no connection, just silence. And daylight made it worse, because now people could see the effects. Empty stores, closed businesses, confused faces, cars lining up at gas stations that weren't pumping fuel. The world didn't look more droppin', but it didn't look normal either. It looked paused. People started talking again, face to face, asking neighbors questions, sharing theories. Rumors spread faster than facts ever did. Cyber war, government shutdown, global attack. No one knew the truth, but everyone believed something. Police departments were still active, but stretched. Because without digital systems, tracking incidents became harder, communication slowed down, response times increased, and small problems started slipping through the cracks. By late morning, it happened. A group of people broke into a closed electronics store. At first, just a few, then more joined. Not because they needed electronics, but because rules felt weaker. When systems disappear, so does control. And once that line is crossed, it's hard to go back. Now fear wasn't silent anymore, it was visible. In people's eyes, in their decisions, in the way they moved, faster, sharper, more alert. Because now they understood this wasn't a glitch. This wasn't temporary. This was a new reality.